Hello and welcome to the AI Business Leadership Podcast, where we speak to business leaders about all things artificial intelligence. I'm your host, Laura Nelson, Head of Product at SolvedBy.Ai, and today's guest is Simon Hedaux, co-founder of ReThink Productivity. Hello, Simon.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you.
So, Simon is a co founder and the CEO of ReThink Productivity, a company that's committed to transforming the way that some of the world's largest companies operate by refining their processes, reviewing their systems, and analysing change impact. So, today we're going to hear about Simon's journey into leadership and where he is now. And we're also going to talk about the business world's increasing awareness of artificial intelligence, the impact that this has had on the different industries, in particular retail and hospitality, and how this has in turn impacted Simon's own business, ReThink Productivity. So thanks so much for joining us today, Simon. Could you just share with our listeners a little bit more about your background and what brought you to your current position?
Yeah, sure. So, varied career. Like lots of people, kind of fell into retail when I was at college. Started working for those of you that remember it. You're probably too young, Laura. Do it all. So, how to do it all, do it, and the kind of Teddy Boys advert was quite famous at the time. Worked on the shop floor. Kind of left college, didn't really know what I wanted to do, and luckily got on the management training course, which was run by Boots at the time because they owned Do It All. Did that, then progressed through various kind of junior management roles to running stores. Then moved into head office to roll out workforce management solution. Then worked for one of the workforce management vendors for a couple of years, kind of technology side. Fell back into retail at Boots, running the productivity department for a number of years for pharmacy and retail. Then, let me think, 14 years ago, next month at the time of recording, we set up ReThink. And since then, we've kind of grown the business. We're up to just over 25 colleagues. And we, as you said, kind of work with lots of companies around the world, helping them understand how long things take, labour budgeting, and then drive performance improvement, maybe look at some opportunities to reduce the cost base as well as increase time with customers to drive revenue.
Okay. And so then for your organization now and your clients, when and in what ways did you first start to see artificial intelligence having an impact?
So I think it's an interesting one because it depends kind of how you badge it. So from your world in workforce management, there's always been forecasting algorithms, which probably for me were the first iteration of AI. So feeding something data and it making some predictions based on that data. So in its rawest infancy, probably kind of almost 10 years ago, clearly it's moved very, very, very quickly, certainly on a day-to-day basis now. So if I badge it that way, probably 10 years ago, in the form that we're seeing today with things like ChatGPT 4.0, um, probably in the last 18 months, I'd say it's really started to gather pace.
Okay. And you mentioned you have a lot of focus in retail and hospitality clients, and you personally have a lot of experience in those areas. They've been massively impacted by AI in recent years. What's been your experience and the experience of rethink productivity there?
So I think to some degree, people are still trying to work it out. So I think everybody knows that they should be looking at AI, machine learning, chat GPT, whatever the source of that is. I think it's moving so quickly that some people are kind of not sure where to start, not sure what it is or where it is. But then there's other examples where people are really embracing that technology. They're putting lots of data through those models to learn, to gain new insights, whether that's around customer behavior to maybe target more marketing, whether that's around shopping behavior to make sure you've got the right products in place and that actually you're buying in the right products and replenishing the right products. So again, I think there's a long way to go, and I'm sure we'll come on to that in the podcast. Um, but I think there's a general acknowledgement in retail and hospitality that if you're not looking into it or doing something with it, you're going to get left behind. But I also think and I'm generalizing here massively, there's lots of people that aren't quite sure what to do, how to do, and where to start because the landscape's moving so quickly. Um, but I would say most retailers are using it from a data point of view behind the scenes, maybe not so much customer facing at the moment.
Okay. And so have you then, as a leader of your organization and as someone that works with those clients for productivity purposes, have you had to make some changes in terms of how you support and service clients in those areas to incorporate AI or to start considering AI?
Yep. So we're kind of on our own journey with that, looking at what can we use based on what's here today, and what's here today changes because the landscape's moving so quickly. But certainly from our data capture point of view, our data triage, and then our insights, how can AI one help us automate some of that process, reduce human intervention so we can focus on more value adding things. Two, what other insights can it generate? So we're really interested in the things that we're not even thinking about that AI may suggest, or can pull different data sets, make different correlations that would take us days and weeks to get to. So it's really, really exciting for us. Again, we're trying to figure out the best way to do that. Where do we have our data? Which AI tools do we use? Which things do we use data to train? What other data might we need to pull in? But we can see it will give us a massive competitive advantage from a time to delivery, but also a depth and breadth of insight point of view.
So kind of using AI to help facilitate what you're already doing in a more efficient way, and perhaps open up questions and avenues that you might not have considered, given that you can't be across all the data all the time as a
Yeah,
human.
absolutely. Bigger data sets, multiple data sets over multiple time periods. There's James, who's our head of kind of insights development. This is his kind of dream kind of AI coming quickly and evolving so fast, because if you're a data person, this starts to help you answer some of those questions you've probably always had in the back of your head, or get to things that have always been too time consuming or difficult to get to. So it will be a real game changer for us. Our challenge, like everybody else, is keeping up to pace.
Hmm. Hmm. And what about rethink productivity itself then as an organization? So we talked about how you adapting some of your work that you do with clients to incorporate AI, but what about the way you do things as a business and as a team? Have you incorporated any AI solutions into your own business?
So we're playing, I suppose, is the reality. So we're trying different things, some kind of communications apps, some different ways of managing kind of stage gates in processes. Some of those are working. Some of those we probably won't take forward, and we'll wait till the tech evolves and gets even smarter. So for us, our team are all fairly remote, so there's some clear opportunities there to keep people more connected, and as well to make sure, as we talked about before, that the data is triaged and cleansed in a more non-human way. So we're just dealing with exceptions rather than looking at every line of data.
You're kind of able to try things out as well, I suppose, in your own business before or as alongside using it with client businesses as well.
Yeah, yeah, and the challenge as always is balancing the, fail quickly. So don't we're not scared of trying stuff, but actually you need to be really disciplined that if it's not working, or we've tried, we'll pause, we'll wait till that piece of tech or that algorithm or that piece of AI evolves, or actually it just doesn't work for us as a business. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as we can be agile and move quickly.
I think it's very easy to fall into that trap of feeling like you need to use it so that you can say that you're using AI and you have AI solutions, or almost just having it for the sake of having it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and then marketing AI when actually it's a rebadge of something else. So, like anything, it's in the peak of frenzy of it being a buzzword, AI, machine learning. I'm not sure any of us really know what it is in its end-to-end state and where it's going to end up, but we all feel like, as you say, we should be doing something with it because we'll get left behind.
Hmm. Hmm. So then, looking to the future,
Mhm.
what do you see? What kind of role do you see AI playing in the future of business productivity?
I think it will be transformational. As ever, while there's people doing good with it, there'll also be people trying to find ways to use it that maybe isn't so good. So that there's always that watch out of people that are trying to find devious ways to use technology. So we'll end up with a whole bunch of stuff that is kind of protective to stop that. The good stuff that people will do, I think, will take out all the um, admin work, all the kind of maybe the stuff you go to Google now. So from a personal, work non-work point of view, I think we'll be in a place where, my personal AI bot will go and speak to, I don't know, British Telecom if I want it to speak to their bot to work out what my payment structure should be, how much I owe, when the dates are coming out of the bank. So there'll be lots of admin stuff it takes care of, in business and in personal life. And then I truly believe there's a whole bunch of stuff we've not even considered yet. So it's going to open up because we free up time for people to be able to think more and maybe do less of the admin stuff. All the really cool stuff that's out there that people have got to over years, but with a lot of time or investment, or in some cases, some luck. So I think that the trends around employees, work-life balance, communication, reward recognition will scale up. I think data will become a commodity in terms of what can you do with it, how can you take other people's pieces of data, so the value of data will rise, because actually that's where you'll make all your decisions from, because you'll be able to create wider insights, turn that around a lot quicker in maybe a more illustrative way using AI rather than have teams of people processing. Um, I think one of the challenges will be the amount of processing power we're going to need from servers, PCs to get some of this stuff done. So the speed of processing will have to evolve with the rapid pace of AI development, because at some point we're going to hit a crossroads where we need that much processing speed. It's almost too costly or too time consuming for the AI to get where it needs to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we've definitely experienced that with one of our products, which is a scheduling optimization AI that I think currently is running on the most powerful or the most computing power commercially available, and even that we're sort of pushing at the boundary there. So
Yeah, I think
yeah, that's only going to continue in terms of the complexity of what some of these products can do.
yeah, I think we're on chat GPT 4.0, aren't we? I think five's due November. I was listening to another podcast, and I think it said by the time it gets to seven, it'll pretty much need all the computing power that's available in the world to date to maximize its potential. So it again, it shows how rapidly this stuff is progressing. So that I think that the pressure comes on the computer chip manufacturers, and I'm not technical, the server construction and processing power, because the actual intelligence is going to run at a quicker pace than maybe that can.
Yeah. So I guess speaking of that very rapid pace of AI development, how would you advise businesses sort of stay agile and adaptable in their AI strategies? And as we touched on before, make sure that they do stay competitive and relevant and don't get left behind in a kind of landscape that's changing so rapidly.
Yeah, I think if you're not considering it or talking about it at a kind of boardroom level, it's probably a miss. Is the reality, because it's here, and I think it's here to stay, and will make rapid changes. I also, on the counter side, think you could invest and spend a lot of money into it, and because it's evolving so quickly, almost it's out of date. So I think it's got to be on the agenda. It's got to be on the conversation. Identifying short term the areas where today it can potentially help. So where are the pain points? Where are there proven organizations that have solved that or are helping companies solve that? Has to be the way to go. But also keeping up to date with the evolution and that roadmap of where AI can intervene. So is it all back office in your organization? Is it more customer facing, payment, handling queries, triaging queries where the opportunity is, and then seeing where it fits in? So I think identifying the opportunity, but understanding that will evolve as the technology evolves quickly, and then seeing where it fits. But back to an earlier point, if it's not working or is too time hungry, not giving you the returns you need, you've got to be prepared to pause and wait for the technology then to evolve so it does fit and deliver what you're looking to do.
Hmm. So not just something for your technical team to consider or your infrastructure team to consider, something that should be consideration throughout the kind of executive level of your business and
Yeah.
right the way through to operational.
Yep. So, what do your customers want? Is clearly an important point. If you're a customer-facing business, if you've got locations, where are their challenges? What are the tasks they're doing that we could automate more or use AI to be more predictive or more accurate? So, examples of in supermarkets, we all shop for food, will be price reductions or be product placement. So, actually, where's the best place to place a product to drive sales? There's a whole piece around ordering and inventory. Clearly, there's a piece with yourselves around scheduling people. So there's lots of user cases, and again, you could spend a lot of time and effort. It's understanding where the best reward is in the current state, but also where are the opportunities in the future. Because from a pure retail point of view, if the stock is more accurate and the ordering is more accurate based on sales and demand, there'll be less reductions, less stock in the warehouse, therefore less cost of stock holding, less time to replenish. Therefore, you can use the people you've got in a much smarter way to be more engaging, to be there for customers, to maybe drive a more enhanced differential service to drive sales. So there's this kind of perfect storm of stuff, but trying to unpick it and work out where to start or where the technology is there to start is probably the challenge at the moment.
And what would be your kind of recommendation if someone's really unsure where to start? How do you identify maybe something that's going to have a decent return on investment, something that's going to be manageable in terms of application of AI for maybe the first time?
So,
How would you sort of recommend someone identify a good opportunity to start with?
so I think the key is to understand where you're spending your time currently. So you could go off on a big project and actually you're only spending, let's say, 1% of time doing that work if we're talking kind of physical retail or hospitality. So how do you spend your time currently? So where's the big chunk of time spent? So does that develop the thought process around the opportunity? What are your customers saying and what are their expectations and how does that fit to your brand? So if you're very much a low price operator, there's probably a lot more to go at in terms of um, the stock process and the other bits. If you're more kind of experiential, then it's about freeing up time to the same people to be there to have more time with customers. So there's opportunity either way. And then I think once you've identified where they are and how you spend your time today, you've got to speak to specialists. So specialists in the stock piece or in the workforce management piece because they'll help you shape that and get there quicker. Because otherwise, if you Google chat gpt or all the things it can do, it is an absolute minefield as we're kind of seeing in the day-to-day releases of new functionality.
hmm One of the things that we always do in terms of our structure is to do a proof of concept.
Hmm.
And I think that's a really useful thing and way of getting started, and two, identifying if something is, a real opportunity and what the benefits can be, getting your kind of foot in the door, and proving that an AI solution can bring you some real benefits, and then, moving on to maybe a wider application.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That kind of get something tangible quickly and move forward, or pause and ask the questions or understand where the challenges are and address those. Because I say it's moving that quickly, isn't it? You can spend a lot of time doing something and then you turn around and actually it's moved again.
Hmm. All right. So, well, just finally then to wrap us up, we talked a little bit about what your thoughts are on what's going to be the direction of this in the future. But looking a little bit further than that, could you just share with us one prediction that you have for what artificial intelligence might be able to do for us in 10 years' time?
So I think the bit we're kind of not seeing at the moment is autonomous decision making capabilities. So I think at the moment it's sophisticated, it's using data. I think in the future the AI will make these decisions based on the things we feed it. So then it will become deeply integrated into business operations, um, driving efficiency improvements, personalization, and innovation across industries. Um, the caveat with that is we've all probably seen the Terminator film. How do you stop it ruling the world? I don't know. I'm not that clever. But autonomous decision making, I think, is the thing that will um, touch our lives in every aspect, from driving, from interacting with utility companies, from legal, from health, through to things that we do at work. But hopefully organizations will then free up people um, to focus on the softer things, so that the service side of things, we don't, in my view, I wouldn't want to see a world in 10 years time that is fully automated. People, aren't in shops, aren't doing things. I think that that's really dangerous. So it's got to be used in the right way. But actually, the bit we're not seeing at the moment, I don't think, is the autonomous decision making. That's the bit which probably scares some people and probably excites some others.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll endeavour to avoid the Terminator
Yeah,
level. But
absolutely.
other than that, sounds very exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Simon, for coming on and sharing your insights and your expertise with us. Been really great to hear about your leadership journey and how you got to where you are now, and your thoughts on how AI has and will continue to impact the business world and the productivity world. So thanks very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me on.
So that concludes this episode of the AI Business Leadership Podcast. Keep an eye on our socials for more conversations with leaders in business and AI innovation, and we'll see you next time.